FHA mortgage delinquency rockets. Bitcoin is at $16,259 as I type, and Dow Jones is bleeding. Hey gang, this is Mike with my real estate dojo at MrNoFluff.com. That's my gorgeous family, Alchemy, Elixir, and myself and Soraya. And today we're going to be talking about, and I'm going to show you statistics from HUD that shows you that FHA is just exploding. And we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and the Dow Jones. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get into the statistics. Well, this is something that anyone can download from HUD. And what I want to look at is table number 4, which is the monthly foreclosure statistics and trends. Okay. And well, what I want to look at is every year. So we can start off right now, 2018, and look at August. Okay. And we're looking at the foreclosure starts in I'm sorry, not in August. We're going to go ahead and look at it in April. Okay, in April, okay, and what we're looking for is this number. It's 9,700 people that file for HOA claims and HOA paid for. Now, there are many people that go into foreclosure and HOA doesn't pay because of things like loan mods and forbearance and things of that nature. But these are the ones that they actually have paid for, and it says it on the bottom, but I'll show that in a second. Okay, these are the claims that they've already paid for because HUD insures, all these loans that are FHA. In other words, the people, us, insure this, okay? The banks make the profit, but when they have losses, we subsidize their losses. Now, going back to the story, what I want you to look at is, again, April, okay? And again, you'll see that in April, it was roughly around 9,465 in 2019. Now, if you go into 2020 in April, what we see is there's only 61. Now, what happened from this to here, right? What happened from this to here? What happened from this number to here? Well, I'll tell you what happened. The foreclosures were stopped by Big Brother, the government agencies, okay? And you can see the next month, same thing. It dropped significantly. How much did it drop down? Well, it dropped down hundreds of points, thousands of points, because we went from having 9,000, 10,000 people getting foreclosed, that the HUD actually paid for, to not being 61. So what happened? Well, Big Brother told the banks, hey, you cannot foreclose right now because we're not going to pay you the insurance. We're not going to pay you. You got to go through our rules and regulations. You got to jump through the hoops if you want to claim your insurance, okay, through us. Because what most people don't realize is when people get a conventional loan, they got to put 20% down and the bank takes the risk. If I can even say that, theoretically, but not really, because it's our money that we put in their savings. But that's a different story. But when people get an FHA loan or a VA loan, what happens is that they only have to put down 3.5%, and Big Brother, HUD, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac will insure these loans. In other words, we the people will insure this. So the banks make profit and we insure their losses. And so this is where we are. So what's happening is that if you look at the news, whatever, they're saying, hey, there's less foreclosures, everything's good, everything's coming down. That's because everything has stopped down. Now, whatever these numbers are, right, in these numbers, I would multiply it at least by 3, and that's going to be the future numbers once they open the floodgates to the foreclosure, to the HUD, FHA, VA, inventory out there. Okay, why do I say that 3 times? Well, we'll get into it right now. But before we do, I want to take 1 second and let you guys know that if you guys are interested in monetizing, capitalizing on what's happening in the real estate, with all the foreclosures, if you're interested in flipping homes, if you're interested in buying houses subject to, if you're interested in finding owner financing deals, if you're interested in fix and flippers, being a landlord, creating owner financing notes, etc. If you're interested in lead generation, how to do automation, um, email follow-up series, create a real estate website for investors, sales copy, all that stuff, then you need to go to mrnofluff.com. And we're having a sale, a massive sale, because what I call the happening in the economy, 97.65% off my newest courses, guys. Okay, and even on some of the best classical advanced courses I have at mrnofluff.com. Uh, and if you want to work direct with me, I highly suggest getting into my profit sharing. I'll work with you direct for a whole year. Plus, I'll give you my best business tools for your company, from your marketing tools to your websites, to your sales copy, to your follow-up emails, to all the paperwork you need to have success in this business, all for 5K, guys. So 5K, you get my coaching plus my best-selling business tools for your business for 5K, guys. Okay, it's called profit sharing. Go check it out, and we'll split the profits on one deal, guys. Pretty awesome deal. It's a great win-win. It's a great way for me to get to know you. Now, this is for successful people. If you're not successful, or if you want to do it by yourself, then make sure you go down to my courses and click on the shopping and download some of my best-selling courses, guys. Okay. Now, enough said. Let's get back to the story. The story is that there's massive amount of people that are behind in their payments. Okay, only I'm just talking about FHA, HUD. Okay, there's millions of other people that are conventional that the bank's gonna eat those, but I'm not even talking about that. Okay, now one thing we need to realize is that in my experience, since I've been doing distressed properties, working with distressed sellers, motivated sellers, that many of these homes that go into forbearance programs or loan modifications, I would say 65% of them eventually will come back and get foreclosed on. Okay, so once these numbers come out in the future, the numbers are going to be lower, what I call shadow inventory, because they made a lot of them go, banks made a lot of them do loan mods or forbearance, and did some crazy numbers, so they didn't have to foreclose. But eventually these people are gonna come and get into the foreclosure numbers anyways, but it's a delayed process, is what I call the shadow inventory. What do I mean by that? The shadow inventory is, for example, if you look at 2018, if you look at August, they made claims of like 9,703. Well, there's a lot of other homes that were behind in payments that didn't get in here. Maybe they did a short sale, maybe they did a loan modification, or some kind of work through, and didn't get to be on this. Okay, but eventually will. But now that what I just said, that scenario increases significantly in hard times. Like, for example, 2006 fourth quarter to 2007, 2008, 2009. There was a lot of people that were, before the bank can claim with HUD, they have to jump through the hoops that HUD wants them. And a lot of people were able to, or try to do a loan mod in the last crash, and the banks kind of pretended that they were doing the loan mods. They never received the paperwork. It was like multiple times they had to call them and fax them, whatever. They weren't organized. They didn't have good systems, but they had to just jump through hoops, tell the government, hey, we did this, and so they could collect on their get money, right? But some of the people would be able to do a loan mod, and so they would not be in these numbers. So they waited 5 months, 6 months later, and once again they were behind in their payments, and then eventually they became on those numbers. Okay. So, and some of these people maybe are behind 2 months, 3 months, and they sell their home, so it doesn't come into these numbers. Okay. So you got to think about whatever this numbers is. Normally, you would have to multiply it by a factor to figure out the total people in foreclosure that didn't actually get foreclosed on. Okay. And so on. Now, the other thing we talked about is shadow inventory. In 2020 moving forward, there are going to be a lot of people in foreclosure that don't get foreclosed on because of creative things that Big Brother does. However, these people are still distressed owners. They're still distressed borrowers, dead borrowers. And what do I mean? Because many people have lost their jobs, right? Many people have lost their jobs, guys. Okay. Now, one other thing I want to go to is let's look at this other chart that I have, guys, which is pretty awesome. Now, this is again from FHA. This is from HUD. This is not from me. And what we want to look at is the years of foreclosure. This is the failure rate by year. So failure in reality means foreclosure. If you look over here, it explains failures is when a loan that is in foreclosure process, okay, or has gone to claim. Never mind, guys. My reading's not that good, but you get what I'm saying. So what this chart represents is in 2019, okay, what is happening with the foreclosure, which is the green, okay, and 2018, right, which is this one. But normally in 2006, 2008, if you look at 2008, you can see that this thing was like somewhere around here. So around here was right around like 3 or 4%, right? Because people were going to foreclosure, and that the picture didn't cut off. But in 2019, which is this line, from here to this line, we're seeing to the very bottom line. Let me see if I can draw it in there. We're seeing a massive difference. Okay, three or four times the difference. Let me show you this. And why is that important? Because earlier I said that whatever those numbers are, we need to multiply it by 3 or 4. Because if you look at this number versus this number, this green, which is like, that represents 2018, and this one represents 2019, and you can see at least it's like 1, 2, and I'm just being, not doing really math at 3 times the difference. So if you go back to that other number that we're looking at, let me show you real quick. So you see what I'm saying. The numbers that you're looking at. So if in 2019 you had, in April, you had 9,465 person, then I would multiply it by 3. So in whenever 2021 in April, you're probably going to have, instead of 10,000, you're going to have 30,000 people in foreclosure, okay? And they may mask some of that 30 into, again, loan mod, short sales, forbearance, but eventually will come out, so the numbers don't go from 10,000 to 100,000 or 90,000 or 60,000, so they can mask it through time, guys, okay? And because, they have to mask it, because if they don't mask it, if they don't mask the shadow inventory, then the insurance companies lose, the banks lose, FHA loses, the homeowners lose, because the property values will come down significantly if they don't have the shadow inventory. And that's one of the ways they were able to not allow home prices to drop 60-70% in the last crash, guys, okay? Now, we talked about the sale we're having at MrNoFluff.com. Please go support the channel and support yourself. All you got to do is just download some of these courses, guys, okay? Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about was that something that many people, no one's really talking about, is that in 2006, 2007, what took down the real estate market was not banks or run-on banks. It was insurance companies. It was insurance companies, guys, okay? It was the insurance companies that started the domino effect, that created a bubble, an effect into the real estate and into so many other things, okay? And so what's to say the same thing's not going to happen this time? Because in my opinion, it doesn't have to be real estate going down that causes the real estate market to go down, okay, or stocks, or other things. It could be a default in insurance that cannot make their obligation, which trickles down massive defaults in insolvencies, because no one has the money, and they're like, okay, this other guy has me covered. The other guy's like, oh, this other insurance company has me covered, and the guys represent companies, of course. Okay, I'm just simplifying it. Okay, so that's something to be looked at, is that the dominoes may fall from a whole different area. Okay, not even real estate. that may, pop the bubble. Okay, so the other thing we need to be thinking about is there's millions and millions and hundreds of thousands of people that are losing their jobs every week, guys, every month. Okay, and the crazy thing is that the numbers are being tweaked to not even totally reflect the true number of people losing their jobs. But on the other hand, you know you, no matter how much they try to cover it up, people are still losing their jobs. Okay, now I got this magazine article from the Dallas Morning News, and it says that delinquencies are soaring for FHA bank loans in Texas. Okay, it's soaring significantly in Houston, is soaring significantly in San Antonio, is soaring significantly in Dallas. I mean, 22% of people in foreclosure, right? Or FHA. Now remember, guys, the chart that I showed you earlier, okay, because it's very important. They haven't started this numbers. That's why they're so low, right? So if there's 22% already out of these numbers, imagine what happens when they open the floodgate, because it should be like 22% at something out of this. But in this, you got to multiply it by 3, because again, these numbers are not, these are the people going to foreclosure, and it's been just cut off. If you look historically, okay, it's not showing up. So, there is a big flood of foreclosures coming, which basically creates an opportunity for myself and my students and anyone that's interested in real estate, especially buying homes from distressed sellers, buying homes from motivated sellers. And if you want to learn this, then join my profit sharing for 5K. If you're a successful business owner, for 5K, I work with you directly for a whole year, plus give you my best business tools for 5K. Guys, don't submit the lead online and expect us to call you and sell you. We don't do any of that, guys. If you can't pull on the trigger yourself, your odds of success are slim. I don't want to work with you, no disrespect, okay? Anyways, in Dallas, there are tons of motivated sellers out there, and guess what? Great opportunity for subject to. Now, a lot of people say, what is a subject to investing, Mike? What does that mean? What that means is that there's homeowners that have a loan on their home. They can't pay their mortgage for whatever reason. They lost their jobs, let's say. And they're highly motivated. They don't want the house to go to foreclosure and hurt their credit. And they're willing to become my bank. So I don't have to get a loan. The seller will just allow me just to take over their payments. Simply put, guys, okay? If you want to learn more about that, go to mrnofluff.com. Check out my free blog. Download my free book at our website. And more importantly, invest in your brain and get some of those courses I have 96% off. Okay, now let's move forward. We're talking about Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin is at $16,259, guys. Okay. Now you guys know that I'm a big fan of Bitcoin. No one owns it. No one regulates it. Is the people's money. No joke. And here's a couple of things I want to talk about. Is the second biggest bank in the world. The second biggest bank in the world just had a bond auction, if you want to call it, where they're going to sell their bonds for construction, and they're going to accept Bitcoin. They want Bitcoins to sell you junk state bond. Okay, even though they're the second largest bank in the world. Guess who it is? It's a Chinese bank, right? So the second largest bank in the world is now going to sell bonds for construction and for Bitcoin, right? Another interesting factor, well, first of all, I don't know who would want to buy that bond, because I wouldn't want to give my Bitcoin for some stupid bonds, but I'm sure there are millions of people that would, right? Now, the other thing is that Iran is the first country in the world to accept Bitcoin and to mine Bitcoin as a nation, right? And why is that an important thing? Is because there's only a certain amount of Bitcoin out there. And if you divide all the Bitcoin out there through the amount of people out there, which is billions of people, people are not going to even get 0.00001 of a Bitcoin. And when nations come in, right, when big companies come in, we saw MicroStrategy spend over $500 million buying Bitcoin. We see PayPal, we see Twitter, we're seeing so many other people getting into the game. Even JP Morgan that was saying, hey, Bitcoin's a scam, I'm going to fire anyone so on, they're buying that shit, right? So, we're sitting here today at Bitcoin being 16,259. In my mind, it's going to hit the $19,000 and it's going to climb. And I'm not sure if it's going to retract and then climb later, but I'm bullish on Bitcoin. For me, it's a 7 to 10 year play. And I think in 7 to 10 years, one Bitcoin is going to be worth $1 million plus, guys. Okay, and all my students in my profit sharing got free Bitcoin, and they've already at least doubled their money. And a lot of them don't realize that the amount of Bitcoin I give them, if they just wait 7 to 10 years, that's going to be a big chunk of money, because one Bitcoin, like I said, is going to be $1 million, guys. Okay, in my opinion, not financial advice, not telling you what you should do. This is what I'm doing. So I'm not a CPA, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not an attorney, none of that stuff. Just a refugee to America, an immigrant to America, that never had a job, never worked for the man, no resume, and never borrowed money from a bank. Just creativity, imagination, right? And loving what I do. And that's what I teach you guys at MrNoFluff.com, guys. Okay? Let's talk about the Dow, guys. Dow is bleeding day after day, week after week. It has some days that it goes up, but end of the day is bleeding. And if you ask anyone that has any common sense, they will tell you, why is stocks going up for example, Starbucks, when they're closed down a lot of their locations, because of what's happening with the bug. Why is Apple stocks going up when they're not selling iPhones and they close down a lot of their locations? Why is this company stocks going up? Blah, 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 blah. And, I don't know, guys, because they're printing money. I don't know. They're giving people free stimulus checks. I don't know, because the Fed is buying stocks. They're picking winners and losers. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, but that's why I don't even mess with stocks, guys, right? Because I don't trust it, right? I don't trust it, never did. And it's more obvious today than ever before that it's a manipulated market, than ever before. Just like paper gold, paper stock, never fuck with it, never will, because not that I don't understand it, but I don't understand it. To hold something fake for the real deal, it just never made any sense to me. And I know a lot of smart people that are programmers, they work for big IT companies, and they have exposure to Bitcoin, but they don't own the private keys. And I scratch my brain, because they're so sophisticated when it comes to IT. But I own my keys, and they only have exposure to Bitcoin. Like some people have exposure to gold, but they don't own the physical precious metals, guys. Anyways, guys, crazy world, crazy things are happening. A lot of pain and suffering for a lot of people. But on the other flip side, there's a lot of opportunity. I mean, what I've been doing recently is, for the last few months, guys, I've just been focusing strictly with the new flip. I've been just flipping and flipping. What is the new flip? The new flip is something that I teach you, a strategy, a business that I teach you guys to do, which is an online business. Okay, all you need is $100 and some computer and the internet, and where I teach you how to find deals at a deep discount, and then come to the market and sell it at a discount. So you find it at a deep discount, and then you sell it at a discount, which means that the unit moves really, really fast, and you make great money very quickly, because you buy very, 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 very low and you sell it low. Okay, which means that when I sell the new flip, if everyone's selling it for example, 500, I'm not selling it for 500. I'm selling it for 397, right? 400. But my price is lower than everyone else, so my item will move a lot faster. But I bought it for 100. So I'm making 400% on that deal. And that's what I teach you guys how to do. The new flip is revolutionary. If you lost your job, or if you need a side hustle, or if you need a full-time fledged business without getting into debt, without needing significant skills, without needing a lot of cash, then the new flip it is. $100 is all you need to start as a startup capital. No credit card, nothing. You can make money now, today. As soon as you finish the course, you can make money. The new flip, what you get is the book, you get the manuals, and you also get the training videos, guys. Please go check out the new flip and read the reviews. It's revolutionary. I do it every freaking day to stack up my chips because I know a lot of things are going to be at a deep discount in America very, very soon. It doesn't matter who the president is. Everything's going to be on a discount very, very soon, from stocks to real estate, guys. Okay? Peace. Click the like button. Leave a comment. I work hard to bring this information for you for free. So hit that freaking like button. Peace.